Welcome to the Grounded Bag podcast. I am your host, Aiysha, and if you haven't planted roots with us as of yet, please subscribe to this YouTube channel, like, share, and comment so that you don't miss any videos, as well as hit that notification bell so that way you can be notified. And please let the YouTube multiverse know that you are in it to win it, but most importantly, on a serious note, that you are here for you, your health, as well as your restoration, both mind, body, and spirit. And this is an extension of the Grounded Bag podcast. So this is our body wisdom, spiritual health, and bold health segment. And in addition to this, please do not forget to listen to us on Spotify, as well as to subscribe to our Substack, the Grounded Bag Podcast, so you never miss any updates or latest conversations. This segment is focused on addressing the whole person, so let's dive into it and begin our journey. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Grounded Bag podcast, but also welcome to the Body Wisdom playlist. If you're watching this video, it is another Body Wisdom time. And please, if you have not already watched the other Body Wisdom episodes, please go ahead and check that out, because Rooted with Aiysha, it's different extensions of me and also different levels of my growth, as well as different phases that I have evolved into. But the growing process is continuous. So this is not the last level. But before we get into, let me reintroduce you to myself. My name is Aiysha, and welcome to the Grounded Bag podcast under the Body Wisdom segment. And I do have other playlists that's geared towards career, that's geared towards entertainment, that's also geared towards education, and more to come. So go ahead and please check that out. And again, I'm your host, Aiysha. And if you have not already planted roots with us, please go ahead and do that right now by subscribing to this YouTube channel, liking, sharing, and commenting. But share, because this not only lets the YouTube multiverse know that you find value in this platform and content, but it also lets the YouTube multiverse know that you are getting and feeling restored after coming to plant roots with us and getting down to the ground with us, as we're getting down to the bag that has all the problems in it, unpacking it. But the body wisdom part addresses and focuses on the whole person. So that's why I wanted to create this segment. But also, please don't forget to subscribe to us on Substack now. The Grounded Bag podcast is on Substack, and you can also listen to us on Spotify and all streaming platforms. So that way you're going to be able to get exclusive content that I will not be sharing on YouTube. So please go ahead and check that out, so that we are able to just see all that we have. But also, most importantly, there are more podcasts to come. Alrighty. So let's go ahead and get into it. So last week we talked about, it was a 30-minute break, check in about the nervous system and why you're always tired, and also talking to your body. Body, is you good, girl? She feeling good right now. Allergies are trying to get me down, but we're not going to let it win. We're not even going to let it win. We're not even going to dignify it. Most importantly. But today we're going to be talking about the earth, wind, and body, and how they are one. Yeah, I know you probably thought I was going to talk about the earth, wind, and fire, but no. We love them, but we're not talking about them today. Earth, wind, and body, because we are connected to the earth, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry to tell you this, but we've been connected to the earth for a long time. We've been connected. So that's precisely why I wanted to give you a little breakdown, so to speak. Yeah. So in regards to how this is going to work, is that we're essentially going to start with all 4 seasons. But we're also going to be addressing how our bodies feel through it. Because oftentimes, I'm not sure if you're familiar with this term, winter blues. There's also the spring plummets. There's also the summer is too hot outside, so I don't want to go out. It's also the fall, you keep on falling. falling, falling, falling. There's also, I mentioned winter blues, but there's also the winter isolation where we don't even want to be involved with anyone, around anyone. It's almost like our own personal quarantine. So we're going to start with spring. In 20-minute spring reset. So set the timer on the clock for yourselves. And I'm going to make sure that I stay in 20 minutes because as working individuals and as individuals who are on the go, if this is the only 20 minutes you have to take, I don't want to waste it. Let's start 20 minutes on the clock. So as we start getting into the spring reset, as you can see, I'm in my spring domain with the trees, with the overall environment. The sun is cascading in. We're creating an ambiance. So just going into the spring, I do want to make sure that we are addressing this because spring may also result in a lot of emotional transformation, renewal, growth, and a nervous system awakening. But it can also make you feel as if you're trying to start a new beginning. But emotionally, it can feel like a lot of pressure to restart before you're even ready to start. And oftentimes we sometimes can be our own self sabotage, or we can literally be our own block, or it can be someone blocking, or it can be both, or it could be work, or it could be so much things that we may have in our lives or around us that can keep us from getting to where we need to be and where we should be. That is precisely why we're having this candid conversation, because now more than ever, we need to get down to the nitty gritty as to why the door is not opening or why the bridge is still folded and it should be flat, or why we're still in the same loop and not getting out of it ultimately. So, a key discussion point that I just want us to keep in mind, especially with ourselves, because we are the ones who are supposed to answer these questions for ourselves. And of course, as if you are um a believer as far as Christian or as far as a belief system that you hold dear to you and you pray to God, the most important thing that we have to keep in mind is we have to be specific in our prayers. We can't just say, oh God, give me this, God please, God please. Most of the time, or not all the time, take it back. Sorry, God, he already gave it to you. And I had to remember that a few days back and every single day, that God has already given me everything that I needed. But the question is, did I see it? Was I ready for it? Did I catch it? Or did I just let it hit the ground? Okay, we're going to marinate on that for a minute. How often do we get a blessing and it drops on the ground? Do we pick it up or do we let it go into the ground so far to the point that we are essentially so accustomed to losing instead of winning? So, we're going to get into emotional thawing after burnout and stress cycles. How many of us feel emotionally burned out and we're literally thawing from the burnout and emotionally stress cycles that we are not ready and prepared for when a new beginning is to start? But we're so accustomed to having to fix, we're so accustomed to having to be that super glue here, super glue there, super glue everywhere, instead of just letting it break, seeing what happens. Maybe, honey, maybe this needs to break. Maybe this needs to break in order for us to see exactly what's inside or what's in it or what's around her or what needs to just be broken and get something new. Because ultimately speaking, what we are at a pivotal moment in our lives right now, even as human beings, is that we're literally like a shell and we're shedding different layers of ourselves. But how many of us are ready to do that? And another key discussion point that I want to make sure that it's not missed is why motivation doesn't automatically return with the season. We're starting a new year, New Year's resolution. But why isn't motivation behind it to start it, to start a resolution? Listen, when things happen with Stranger Things, New Year's Eve, girl, this New Year's already starting. And literally, I felt a momentum. I didn't know where it was coming from, but I felt a momentum and I knew that this was going to be the year. I said, God, I didn't stay away from my channel for far too long. I got to get back into it. My mom has been telling me, Aiysha, you need to get back out there. People need to hear what you have to say, but also people need to hear the testimonies and the work that you've done. And I was apprehensive. I was like, how am I going to balance it? Full-time student, work full-time. Life is all life and in between. And I'm like, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. So at night, different ideas would come to me and I'd write it down, but I never did it. I never manifested it. I never pushed it forward. So how many of us are like that? Functional procrastinators. We're functioning, we're getting work done, but we're procrastinating about what we really want to do. That's real. And the pressure to reinvent yourself too quickly. I felt, I didn't really feel that pressure to reinvent myself. I knew that I changed, but I didn't know how that change was going to work on a platform that I already was a different self on. So I never felt pressure to reinvent myself. I felt apprehensive of if the social media world was for me. TikTok, Instagram, the whole bit. And growing not being linear or visible. That is a question I'm going to leave for you. So the reflection questions that I really want us to really break down to is where in my life am I expecting myself to bloom too fast? Personally speaking, I expected myself to bloom extremely fast professionally, work-wise. I expected myself to bloom even in my own spiritual growth, where I know I'm blooming. I feel it and I feel God talking to me and I feel the Holy Spirit increasing my discernment. But sometimes you feel as if I'm pushing 30. By 35, I want to do this. At 40, God willing, I get there. I want to be at this point. I know that I have a time clock and I want to need to make that shot. I'm the 3-pointer, even though I feel like a power forward. I'm not going inbound though. But there's those moments when we put a timetable on things, and that's not wrong. That's not wrong. But there's moments when we can even halt our own motivation. This, that, this, or that. There's nothing wrong with having a goal. There's nothing wrong with knowing that you want to be at a certain point at a certain age. But the most important thing is asking yourself at that point, are you going to be ready? Because it's like saying, God, I want this man. God, I want this marriage. God, I want these kids. But when I get these kids and marriage and man and everything's working out, oh my God, I didn't expect to get it all at once. How am I going to manage this? How am I going to do this? I wanted this job. Oh my God, this responsibility is a lot. I prayed for it, Lord, but clearly wasn't specific. There's so much of those moments that we have, and the reason I'm animated because this happens. This happens where you're having an out of body experience as it's happening in real time. So that goes back to the question, where in your life are you expecting to bloom too fast? Because you can say you want this, you want that, but the question is, are you ready for it? And when you get it, are you still ready for it? And are you still willing to go and continue with it? And that also brings us to the second question is, what part of me is still in a resting or healing season? Resting or healing season, there is nothing wrong with that, because there's a parts of us, could be spirituality, it could be emotional growth, it could be healing that hurt inner child of ours, it could be that moment where we're operating like winter and spring, where we're still hibernating, but we're supposed to be coming out of hibernation. So it's those different elements that we're trying to really break free of or come out of, or be that caterpillar and get out of that phase. So I would honestly say it's important that we give ourselves that grace. And how many times have we heard that? Oh, give me grace. I need grace. I need grace. But are we giving ourselves grace? You can ask other people to give you grace, but are they going to do it? Maybe sometimes no. So there's also a lot of moments and increments where we often lose sight of those important key pointers. And we also lose sight of these harsh realities that it is what it is. The world is not going to wait for us. The world is not going to wait for us to hibernate, come out of hibernation, heal, be healed, be a change maker, do what's necessary. The world's not going to wait for that. And the saddest thing is we have to make that change for ourselves. We have to hit on mute, hit that button, and allow it to happen. But also be mindful of who's around you. Because sometimes we have friends, sometimes we have sisters, could be like sisters who are friends, or sometimes we can have brothers, sometimes we can have family members around us that like, you gotta go, you gotta do your thing, or you have to get that man, girl, or you have to get that job or get that plateau. But at the same time, how are we emotionally, mentally, and spiritually working through that process? Because oftentimes, and how are we communicating with ourselves and others that we're in a season of healing or in a season of resting? Because it's okay sometimes for a family member to want the best for you and want you to be excel and grow, but it's also harder when they don't know that you're on that journey and they assume that you're dragging your foot, taking your time. And sometimes it could be a long time and there's not a lot of progress moving forward. So the frustration creeps in, life, and a lot of wonder seeps in, and you're wondering, is this person trying? Or like, are they doing X, Y, and Z? But then there's also a lot of levels to us and layers as human beings, and we evolve and we turn to caterpillars and we become butterflies. So there's a lot of layers that we have got to come to the impasse with, but we also have to know that life is going to continue with or without us. And we also have to know that there's seasons for resting, there's a season for healing, and there's also a season for proactivity. There is a season for proactivity. So with everything, there's a season. There's a time to cry, there's a time to weep, and then there's a time to operate in our power. So this third and final reflection is, what does gentle growth look like for me right now? Gentle growth can mean many things. It can mean that gentle growth can mean you're cutting some people off. Gentle growth can mean that you are creating some space, boundaries, distance. Gentle growth could mean that you are seeing your value even in the midst of chaos. You're choosing your mental health even against the decisions of others. It can mean taking little steps, taking yourself on a date. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Getting your nails done. Getting that tropical smoothie. I had that the other day. There's a lot of sugar in it, but my sugar was low. Thank you, mama. She got it for me. B12 shot in ginger. I was awake. Absolutely. I did take a nap that afternoon, though. But back to it. Gentle growth looks different. Are you challenging yourself to read a different amount of books? Are you challenging yourself to get on YouTube? Or are you challenging yourself to start that course, enroll? Are you challenging yourself to find that calm in the storm? Or are you challenging that self to letting that individual in your life that's draining you, letting them go? And that could be a relationship. That could be a boss. That could be a chapter that you need to close. So before you close that chapter, make sure that there's no stone unturned. So that way, when you get into that new beginning, you're not wondering what happened in spring, because summer is already hot enough. We don't need to carry no more clothes with us. So a few takeaways. Let's do a listener activity. Slow bloom check-in. Write down 3 areas of your life: mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual. Write that down. Next to each, write resting, growing, and ready. So if it's mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual, next to that, as you write down those 3 areas, or 4 areas rather, next to that, write down resting, growing, and ready. Where part of those 4 pivotal areas are you ready? Or are you growing? Or are you resting? Have no shame in your game. If you're growing, resting, or if you're ready. Because you need to identify which areas you're ready in, growing in, or resting in. So that way you're able to focus on and channel your energy on getting this area to grow, this area to, rest, because I know you've been tired, or this area where you're ready. And the areas where you are ready, and you got to start building on that ready, and you got to push because you are at a level where it's time, or you're at a level where you've been pushing and pushing and pushing. So you got to rest, or you've at a level where you've done 3. Now it's just time for growth, to transition from resting and growing, from resting and ready to growing. Because many times we've already done all of those things. So now it's time for us to grow and shed skin and go into another path, another level. That is a word right there. And once you've written down those, don't change anything. Just observe where you actually are once you've written that down. Because when we change and look at ourselves day by day, oh, I'm growing. Look at me, look at me, look at me. But hello, some things are temporary. Like, see the longevity of it. See how long it takes. See how long and where you are after this pivotal season. So once spring is over, you're like, okay, summer, what you working with? Let's do this. Because episode 2, we're going to be talking about the hot girl summer. I'm going to keep it classy. We're talking about summer energy, high heat, high expectations, because spring came with us as spring, but making it emotionally renewal, growth, and nervous system awakening. So we're awakening out of hibernation, but summer is going to be the high heat, high expectations. So we're going to make that happen. So this is a series. So that way, once these seasons arise in real time, we're able to navigate through them successfully. But even if it's not fully successful, prepared, capable, and up to your job. The most important thing is getting yourself to that level where you're feeling, okay, it's not going to sneak up on me this time. I already hibernated. I already got my food. I'm ready. You're going to be ready, and we're going to be with you to get ready. There's more amusing and beautiful things that this channel is going to be providing. And I have more ideas. They're just being downloaded to me. And I want to thank you, God, for this, because I'm ready. I said I'm ready. Oh my God. I'm having an aha moment in real time. But please don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and comment. And please share this video with your girl, your bro, your family, your sister, cousin, or your boss if you feel like it needs it. Hey, boss. Hey. We've been professional over here. We have not been talking about nothing bad. But please go ahead and share, and make sure that you subscribe to the Ground and Bag podcast on Substack so that you never miss any updates, and more podcasts going to be coming to you live on Spotify as well as other streaming platforms. And support still exists even in times like this. So take what resonates with you today from this video. Thank you for kicking it with me. Not kicking it. We're not shacking up either. Thank you for sitting in our spring queendom or kingdom or communitydom for 20 minutes. Thank you for taking your 20 minutes with me, and move gently with yourself from here. And until next time, be kind to your mind. Keep choosing yourself one moment at a time. And thank you so much for being here with me. And once again, subscribe. We're on the journey to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. And then we're going to keep moving up the goal. So see, you got to start somewhere. So let's start today. See y'all next time, and take care of yourselves always.